Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump over the last 24 hours has issued a lot of statements, and all these have strategic implication. And one of them is that he intends to seize all the oil of Iran, plus many other statements. I think it's important that we look at these statements and look at it critically and strategically. Why is he making all these statements? Who is intended for? What's the implication to the stock market and oil market? Let's watch on. So it's very clear that Donald Trump wants to seize Iran oil, and he also sent out a whole fog of war that cloud the whole scene. There are lies after lies after lies, half-truths. I don't think there's any truth at all. And it sends the whole world into confusion and wondering what the hell is happening. And the more important question is, why is he doing that? Who are all these lies for? So I think it's important that we take a look at all this strategically so that we know what's the implication of this to the financial market, to the oil market, and to the stock market. Let's watch on, shall we? So, top of the list, he came out and said that Iran agrees to all the US ceasefire terms. There are 15 of them. He said Iran agrees to most of them. And obviously, this is either he's smoking weed or he thinks that we are all smoking weed. And I think that is something that is really very unthinkable that could happen, but he outright said it. Now, he also concurrently said that US could take the oil in Iran. And he told the Financial Times that he's considering seizing strategic Kak Island even as the negotiation is taking place. So you think about this. He says he's negotiating with Iran. Iran has agreed to the 15 points. Meanwhile, he will go and take the Iranian oil as he likes. Either the Iranians are idiots, or he thinks that the Iranians are idiots, or he thinks that the listeners and the viewers are idiots, or he himself is the idiot. So I don't think he's an idiot. So definitely he thinks some of us are idiots. So he prefers to seize the Iranian oil hub as the troops begin to deploy around the region. Now, just to be very clear, we judge Donald Trump by not what he say, but what he do, because now Pentagon is prepared for weeks of ground offensive and operation in Iran. So what Pentagon is doing is not what Donald Trump is saying. In fact, they go misaligned. So now this is something that Donald Trump clearly have a hand in, and we should see through all the fog of war, the smoke, the lies and everything, and look very clear. He's preparing for ground offensive and operation. Now, he's also saying that Iran is sending the United States 20 oil tankers through the Straits of Hormuz. He said, and now today he gave us as a tribute. I don't know, I can't define it, but he gave us, I think, our respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil through the Straits of Hormuz, and that's taking place tomorrow morning. So he told all the reporters. Now, first of all, it's very clear that this is a blatant lie, but to make the lie so big and so unbelievable, I think he has a purpose in doing that. So he says that, oh, we're doing very well in that negotiation. He's pretty sure that US will make a deal with Iran, but it's possible we won't, right? So we'll make a deal, maybe we won't, right? I do see a deal in Iran, it could be soon. And he's also saying that US is negotiating with Iran directly and indirectly. So do you realize even within this few sentences, there are a lot of contradiction itself? Meanwhile, while he's talking nonsense, the oil market refused to listen a word he says and continue to climb. The WTI usually below 90, sometimes below 100, now has just broke through 100. And the Brent crude oil has broke through 110, now it's going to 115, and maybe at the end of the day, even higher. I won't be surprised 120 is within this week. So, again, we judge not what Trump says, but we judge what's happening on the ground, what he's doing. So over the last 24 hours, a lot of things has happened. US and Israel continue to strike Iran. And there is a lot of places are being hit in Iran. And we have got airports being hit, petrochemical plants being hit, civilian areas being hit as well. So we are actually seeing, a lot of places are being attacked. This doesn't sound like a good negotiation that's taking place, like what he says. So the Maharab airport and the petrochemical facilities are being hit. You could see this is the runway, and you could see areas being hit with smoke and things like that. So it doesn't look like, it's nice, cordial negotiation that's progressing as well as he said. Now, the Iranians are not sitting back doing nothing. They step up attack in a massive way. Kuwait is hit very, very hard. The power generation plant in Kuwait now being hit. Desalination facilities are being hit, and emergency response being triggered. Take note, they are now attacking desalination plants and power generation, and these are civilian assets, and they pose existential risk to civilians and residents of those countries. So they are no longer just spectators. The Gulf countries, they are being hit, clearly suffering quite bad from this. Now, this is a breaking news. As I was doing the materials, this news just came in, and I verified it. Iranian Armed Forces headquarters have declared that the residents of military commanders and the officials from these nations that are involved in a conflict against Iran are now legitimate military targets. Now, these military commanders could be military commanders just in US and Israel, or it could be the Gulf countries as well. So he blanketly said, we are going to hit people right now, and in that sense, also officials from these nations. These are civilians, leaders. We are not going to spare you. So at least I tell you first before I strike you. Well, I'm not saying it's any good or bad, but in the case of Israel, they don't talk, they strike. It's just too military approach. Now, meanwhile, the US talks so big, they now have a very large group of force they're accumulating. 3,500 Marines are already there. 10,000 additional troops are now being ordered to go. 82 Airborne Division being mobilized. This is not lining up for fun. They must be there for a purpose. So while the smoke, the lies, the fog gets very blurry, but what is very clear, military is building up for a reason. So it's now very clear that oil is a military objective. Donald Trump wants to seize the oil in Iran. That's very clear. He did that to Venezuela, and I'm surprised that Venezuela just surrendered it to him, and now he's going after it in Iran. So if you step back, it's very clear. It cannot be that Iran is agreeing to the 15 points negotiation, doing well. We send 20 oil tankers to US. Meanwhile, I strike all the Gulf countries like crazy. And meanwhile, US is attacking me like crazy. And all these nice gestures are happening. So who are these lies meant for? It can't be, right? It can't be. So why are there so many blatant lies? So don't think of them as just lies. People don't say lies for no reason. Lies are given for a reason. There is an audience intended for these lies. And what is the purpose? I think it's important. Now, we just want to know whether all these are a ploy for other objective. Let's take a look. First of all, it's very clear that the domestic political audience in US, it's a target audience for these lies. So to talk about ground war is very toxic. There are just so many millions of people protesting against Donald Trump right now in US. So he's drumming up all this conversation to lie to the American audience so that hopefully you calm some nerves down. Whether he's successful or not, that's beside the point. But he is basically going out and saying, we are winning, Iran is weak, this thing will end soon, so don't worry. It was Hitler who once said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe in it. Now, I'm not surprised, okay, that this showmanship of lies is drawing a large audience. Even in Singapore, in my Telegram group, in my 1865 audience, there are actually people who believe in Trump. I'm actually very surprised. So it basically says that it is working to a small group of people at least, but I hope that all of us will see through this. So the strategy is to first claim that there is success, and later, when he changed, and then he will just say, "Oh, things have changed. I'll just do it." So it calms some nerves, brings some chill, some calm to the political audience in USA. So that's the first group audience, and this is the highest priority for him. Second is to calm the stock market and the oil market, at least, okay, try to. Now, he has successfully done that in the past. Gradually, now the market doesn't listen to him as much, but a small group still listen to him. So as long as he says, "Oh, negotiation progressing well. Oh, I've delayed the attack. Things are turning out fine. Don't worry, all these things are over." The oil market is a market that responds a lot to sentiment, a lot to reaction to short-term news and things like that. Just like the stock market, just like the crypto market. It's no difference. So in that sense, by saying all these lies, hopefully a group of people believe in it and sell down on oil and calm the oil market. It's working to a small extent. Last time, it's getting smaller and smaller. But there are people who still believe in it. And it works. It works. And the investor in the stock market also attempt to smoke them, to calm them down, so that things will not turn out as bad as what the actual situation is on the ground. Are you one of them? Are you one of them that brings smoke? Be careful when you react to some of these lies. Now, someone may say, "What, Mr. Lu, what if you are wrong?" Well, you judge for yourself. I can't tell you with real proof more than what I already show you. What do you think the situation is on the ground? You believe what you want to believe. Now, the third group of audience is the Gulf states. Clearly, he's supposed to play a protector, big brother, to all these Gulf states. He's supposed to do that. That is part of the petrodollar agreement. He protects all these states. These states will trade in US dollar. But clearly the protection is very bad. Right? Protection is very bad. So he needs to send a signal. Don't worry, things are getting better. I'm making progress. Guys, relax, relax. I know you're suffering right now. Just for a short while, things will be okay. And you will continue to need us. I don't think the Gulf states are that stupid. Would you think the Gulf states are that stupid? Maybe in the beginning, yes. Now, wow, this message is meant for who, man? Pinkina, right? It's for young kids. Now, the last and the most meaningless group of audience are the Iranians. So now, clearly, Iranian knows that this is lies, but by throwing all these lies, you get the Iranians very worked up, very emotional, and as a result, people who react emotionally makes the wrong decision. So it's important for us to realize that this is also psychological warfare. He aims to irritate and drive the Iranian leaders to make emotional decisions. What this could be, we don't know, but by sending all these signals, it confuses and irritates them, and as a result, potentially some miscalculation and mismaneuver could happen. What is the downside of doing all this? There's no downside for Trump for doing all this. And at most, the Iranians are not idiots and get smoked by this. But I'm sure by saying that we're going to seize your island, we're going to seize your oil. Hey, you give me 20 tankers of oil, things like that. The Iranians got to spend time, waste time to decipher this, to send out messages and saying that, no, we are not doing all this and things like that. So get the whole world very distracted. Clearly, this is a classic fog of war tactic. Make the enemy confused, irritated, and as a result, they do stupid things. So this is very textbook case of distraction and timing manipulation. Meanwhile, he gets his troops ready. Well, we shall see whether what will happen, but I don't see any good outcome of this for US for now. We step back, and watch this thing. Now, some people say, Mr. Lu, you seem to be siding the US and the Israelis. Sometimes they say, Mr. Lu, you seem to be siding Iranians. No, we are watching this strategically. There's only one side, their side. I side the side of money. Okay, I'm an investor. I look after profits. I look after good investments, outcome, and things like that. So I only look at that. Don't get me involved in this political siding. I'm not siding anybody in this whole thing. Now, the real strategic play is really buy time. It's very clear Donald Trump is buying time and to shape perception. He manipulates the market and pressure allies, and hopefully all these allies are more aligned to him. We're talking about the Gulf countries, and now keep all the doors open, ready to strike if necessary. So this is essentially his strategy. So as investors, what should we do? Well, I cannot tell you what you should do. Should you buy? Should you sell? Whatsoever? Well, I'll just say this, that all these narratives, okay, either you don't listen to them or listen to them with a mind knowing there must be a purpose of him sending out this smoke, this fog, and these lies. And meanwhile, look at the strategy that is conducting on the ground. So very clear, these are pre-war conditions. They are not pre-peace conditions. So don't let the words override what are things happening on the ground. For now, the oil market continue to climb. The equities, hard to say. When it's go down some more, I'll buy some more, go down some more, I'll buy some more, go down some more, I'll buy some more. Very clearly, this is a wonderful buying opportunity for me, and we'll take advantage of this crash buying opportunity. So, as I want to conclude this, it's very clear. Judge Trump by not what he says, but judge Trump by what he does. What he does and what he says, two different angles altogether. We'll say it again and again. The bottom line is, this is a developing news. Watch this very closely. Hit subscribe. We go live very often now at night. We give you videos that is real time. We decipher and clear away the fog of war so that you look at the most important thing from the eyes of an investor. So remember, hit subscribe. Not only do I have videos out on YouTube right now, I have videos out on many other channels at many other platforms, and I also have a shorts video coming out. So catch those, watch those, so as I bring you the latest. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tonight in a live stream. Bye-bye.